Agriculture plays a vital role in food sufficiency and economic development of Nigeria. To ease agribusiness in Nigeria and contribute to the development of the sector, a national agricultural show is underway to explore Nigeria's agricultural sector, learn from industry leaders and witness technological advancement to drive the nation's food security goals. The 16th edition of the annual National Agricultural Show had a theme: incentivizing smallholder farmers or small processors to scale for the attainment of food security in 2025. The Agric Show will take place from 25th to 29th November at the National Agricultural Showground, Kilometer 28, Abuja Kefi Road, Tuduwada, Karo, local government area, Nasarawa State. The show is in collaboration. It's a collaboration between all Farmers Association of Nigeria, Nasarawa State Government, and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Among other activities, the Agric Show will feature exhibitions, seminars, and symposia, business opportunities, interactive sessions, and cultural show, among others. This and more will be the focus of Nigeria Today. Thanks for joining us. I am your carrier, Clinton. Now with me in the studio for the conversation is architect Kabir Ibrahim. He's a national president of Farmers Association of Nigeria. He's also the president, Nigeria Agro Business Group. Glad to have you in Nigeria today.
Thank you for having me.
I know we've said a little bit about the agri show that is taking place. Just give us a little bit of, kind of a background of this agri show and what we are to expect.
Well, this is the 16th edition. We have been doing it for 15 years, and we did the 15th edition last year. And this is the 16th one. It's tailored or fashioned in what we used to attend as a Royal Agricultural Show in England. The opportunity for smallholder farmers and every farmer to showcase what they were able to produce is the main thrust. But certain opportunities will arise from the ceremonies. Business, B2B meetings and all that will be shown, and we also will tell the whole world that in spite of many, many threats of low mechanization, climate change, insecurity and all that, we are able to work assiduously to feed the over 200 million mouths in Nigeria. Some people will argue that there is no food available, but we say there is food, but it's not affordable. Now, this is predicated on the purchasing power of the Naira, generally. And we feel that as work in progress, the CBN and the federal government will work very hard to prop up the Naira, show it up so that people will have higher purchasing power, and then everybody will be happy. In the summation, you mentioned that the Agric Show is, between about 3 parties. There is a 4th one that has just come in, and that is the National Agricultural Development Fund, which is a baby of the National Agricultural Foundation of Nigeria, because the bill or what brought it about is the work of the former president of AFAN and the former chairman BOT of the National Agricultural Foundation, His Excellency Abdullahi Adam, who is my predecessor in both places, the AFAN and the BOT of the NAFAN. So I am trying to get into very big shoes, and with your help and whatever you are able to do, and everybody else in the media, we will be able to encapsulate what is supposed to be driven from showcasing what the smallholder farmers are able to do. So we are now calling on all Nigerians to support the smallholder farmers, to exit smallholder farming to become small-scale producers, which will be the engine room of industrial growth that will bring about food sufficiency and later food security to Nigeria. It is work in progress. There are so many windows open. It's up to us, all Nigerians, to really tap into them. There are policies, some implementation problems arise, but once you make the farmers as the actual actors of monitoring and evaluation, you will ensure that the farmers get the support that is required for them to get the optimum push to scale their productivity. And that is why we are ambitiously saying, if all these things are in place, and of course the other threat factors, even if they remain constant, that they are not escalated, we will be able to feed the teeming population of this country and even beyond. Because in about 26 years, we are going to be almost 400 million. We have a big task ahead of us. Of course, we require a lot of mechanization. We require a lot of adoption of good science and technology and innovation. We require a lot more than what we do as conventional production. We should get into the realm of biotechnology that will bring genetic engineering and all that, so that we will be food sufficient and we will attain food security like the first world countries. And I want to tell Nigerians here and now that all the countries of the world that boast of food security actually go to the realm of biotechnology. Okay. If you remember, countries like China, Russia were referred to as iron cutting countries many years ago. Today they have come out, they are actually food sufficient. And if you take China for instance, it is the best or the biggest or the largest producer of potato.
Okay, before you go further, this you said this is the 16th edition of this program. I want to believe this is a yearly show.
Annual, yeah.
Okay, annual event. So what will be different this year in this year's event?
Well, the challenges this year are enormous, as you know. Most Nigerians cannot even feed themselves. So we want to wake everybody up to the possibility of becoming food sufficient if the requisite support is given to the smallholder farmers. Because unfortunately, all the other factors like mechanization, work on energy, security, and all that are work in progress. But we cannot starve. We still have to eat. Even though our farmers are being abducted, maimed, killed, and all that, we are still able to bring food for you to buy. If you go to any of these food markets, there will be food. But the only thing is that it is not easily affordable. But so if you make these people scale their productivity, there will be more on the table, and therefore prices will come down. Because in economics, you understand that the law of demand or elasticity of demand also plays a role in price, protocol. So this is the idea. We are ambitiously saying that if you give the smallholder farmers the optimum push, they would be able to make food more abundant. And what we think will incentivize them better is to be able to really implement all the good policies that are now on the ground. And for the president to even be there himself, because, about 6-7 months ago, he declared a state of emergency on food security. So if he comes in and addresses the farmers will be incentivized to even do more. So this is the whole idea. So this year's agricultural show is predicated on making the small farmer to scale his or her productivity to such a level that we would have food sufficiency. And the issue of food security as work in progress will be easier to be attained.
Okay, apart from the farmers, Nigerian farmers, are there any international collaborators like, other
Well,
countries?
you see, the situation is like this. We have many people who come to play as either donors or consultants, or some people do agribusiness in this country. You know, because we export whatever we have in its primary form. And there are many people who come in to see what we have before they buy. So those people will also be given the opportunity to now have variety. Maybe they had been cocooned into buying from one source, but when they see from other sources, they will now be able to buy from those other sources, and we will be able to attract foreign direct investment into our country. Because farmers today are really saying that what they produce is becoming more and more valuable. You know, but whereas you consumers are always saying that they are skyrocketing prices of food items, the farmers are saying this is the only time we are getting value for what we produce.
And why is that?
Well, you see, a farmer cannot produce everything that he or she needs. So whatever they produce, they would produce sufficiently to feed themselves and to be able to sell out. So when the prices of what they sell is good, they will now be able to buy more of what they don't have. So they are richer. Instead of looking at farmers as very poor people, now you have to look at them as people who are aspiring to become rich. And that is a normal thing. In other climes, farmers are not poor people, they are rich. In fact, in some places, farmers go to their farms on helicopters.
Okay, now, I saw this year's theme says incentivizing smallholder farmers or small processors to scale for the attainment of food security in 2025. Now I've come to, find out in my little research that, before I say what I want to say, you rightly mentioned that most farmers export their products in their primary form. But I've come to realize that exporting processed food gives more money. So is there any kind of measure in place to ensure that farmers, are also very into processing to, make more money for themselves?
You see, the matter is like this. Look at it from the agribusiness point of view. If you are if you have off-takers who process and give you equity in the processed material, you are indirectly also exporting and selling what you have in a processed form. I will explain to you. If, let's say, there is a miller who takes paddy from you and he mills and sells milled rice, but as a loyal supplier, you supply to them at the going price, but then when they process, they give you a little equity in the process thing. You will now be happy, and this will come like a bonus. And this is what happens in the first world. You see, I know a place in the United States, they call it Germantown. There used to be hundreds of dairy farms around. Now, a big processor came about and is adding value in the milk value chain. And then people cannot compete with that person. So what the dairy farms have done there is that they will collect their milk, that every morning a truck goes around their farms and collects the milk. The milk, initially, they are paid in its primary form as milk. But the processor now adds value. He turns it into powder. He turns it into ice cream. He turns it in so many other derivatives and gives them equity. Some money,
after buying from them.
Yes. So everybody is happy. Those people will not sell to anybody else because they are incentivized. So this is what we are saying. Okay. When you look at a farmer and you say he's a poor person, you just take whatever the person has and you leave them to be poor and all that. They will become complacent.
Okay.
They will become complacent. But if they know that there is something, it's like even your son. If you have your son in your business and you pay them salary, and they probably, in where I come from, we are polygamous. So the children will come from different mothers. And then in Islam, when a person dies, there is a formula for sharing whatever they leave behind. A child that is maybe 1 year old will get the same thing as a male child of 1 year old. I mean, will get the same thing as a grown person of 40 years old. But if that 40-year-old was working and was getting equity, that is, he will enjoy whatever comes to the company proportionately. That is, if it is 10 million, he gets 10%. If it becomes 100 million, he gets 10%. 1%, I mean 10% of 10 million is certainly smaller than 10% of 100 million. So he will work very hard to make that a billion naira business so that his equity will rise and he will become a rich man himself.
Thank you very much.
So that's it. That's how it is done.
We are going to take a short break now. The conversation will continue after the break. Don't go away.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different? We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that are questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. This is in Nigeria Today, and we're looking at the 2024 Agric Show. And here I have with me the president of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Kabir Ibrahim. So, as you talked about, of course, you know, what are some of the derivatives, and of course, how incentivizing the smallholder farmers will go a long way in ensuring food security. Now, how will the show impact farmers and the agricultural value chain? And of course, for people that want to go into farming, are there opportunities for them in farming?
Well, definitely. I mean, ask the people who were there last year. They will tell you that there's so many things that they thought were not possible. I will give you a simple example. You see, the research institutes have been not very forthcoming in bringing out research findings and all that, because they are not talking about it, and farmers are not going close to them to get them. But when they display certain things that they do, like have you seen bread produced from corn flour mixed with wheat flour and all that, millet flour, and you see bread. So IR once showed that. So people know that it's possible. And now that, you know, the production of bread is very costly because of the cost of flour and all that. If you add additives like cassava flour, corn flour, maize flour, millet flour to them and all that, you will now be able to produce it with less, and therefore you will sell it cheaper. I'm sure now your children do not play with bread on the dining table.
No, of course they can't try it.
So so everybody is now crying. But when you have innovation, people will now be able to afford certain things that hitherto were difficult to afford. So that's the whole thing. And then again, the marketability of what you produce will also be seen, as some people are making good money out of what you thought or what you used to throw away. Because right now, as a livestock farmer, I know that the chaff from the rice can also be used as feed for large ruminants.
Okay.
The corn stalk can be ground and mixed with so many things to make feed for animals. The droppings of chickens can be used as farmyard manure or fertilizers. So many of these things will come out when you go to see what is happening. And that is why we even travel abroad. You see all kinds of things that are done elsewhere, and then you come back and model those things and do that. And the same thing, the exposure is the same thing. A farmer comes in, he sees a style or a way of doing things, even though he had been doing it his own way, he has seen now the improvement. And when he goes back, he puts the improvement into practice. And so it's a win-win situation. And then, of course, you also make business connections. Because we have been telling farmers that they should look at agriculture as a business, not something just to feed themselves. Subsistence farming is no longer possible. Because, as you know, no farmer produces everything that he or she wants to eat.
Okay, with this event that's been taking place in this number of years, like the 16th, just say the 16th year,
yeah.
Have you been able to assess the impact it has had on farmers, especially the smallholder farmers?
Well, you see, most of these things are not things that you can just set out there because they are not necessarily pecuniary. You don't say, okay, from 10 million it has gone to 50 million or 100 million or whatever. But even the idea of continuing that thing and improving on it is derived from seeing how it is done by others. So the exposure has been very, very helpful. I mean, take things like fish production, milk production. They are improved methods of doing it, and you see it as people display what they do. So you tend to gain a lot from practical experience of others, and the people are ready to showcase what they have done. So you learn by even visiting, not even by exhibiting necessarily. That's why everybody is invited to come and see. You move around, you see what is happening, you go back home and use that and even improve it so that everybody will be happy. I'm sure, in Nigeria, like 20 years or 30 years ago, people used to farm generally for subsistence. And generally, some people would farm to produce, if they are very rich, to produce to just give to their laborers and servants and all that. Today, even you, in your small backyard, you plant vegetables that you use to make your own soup. And instead of flowers now in front of houses, people are planting vegetables. So this is what is called now urban farming. It is coming. There is vertical farming now. People, it goes up. There is even soilless farming. People just plant on water and all that. All these things that you get them from the experience of other people and what other people are doing. And that is why it is very important to showcase what others have been able to do so that others will model them and we will all be better for it. And then for the smallholder farmer that has been doing something that he or she feels is right, it is very difficult without seeing results for them to now accept the fact that that is possible. So when you come to a show like that and you show them and you show that this is the same thing that you have been doing and this is how you can really accentuate that what it is, then you now gain more and you become a better farmer and become richer. The whole idea of anything you do is to prosper. You don't do anything to be impoverished. You want to be better off than before you started. And that is the essence of putting people together, pulling resources, and exposing them to so many things, technology, good science, even the exhibitions. You have something that looks very dirty at home, on the farm or in your rumbu, in your small store. Here it is. This is how to preserve it, and then it will have a longer life.
Okay. So
that you can gain also by seeing what others have done.
All right. The date again is the 25th to 29th of November this year. Of course, it will be taking place at Caro.
You see, we have a permanent fairground or showground that everybody knows. Anybody who is going to Kefi will know that that is the showground that we have always used, and it's on the right side when you go from here, 28 kilometers from Abuja. You go to it, and it's a very large parcel of land, about 21 hectares, and people have pavilions that they display their wares and whatever they produce for everybody to come and see. Okay. And some people even buy from there.
And it's free for everybody. Everybody can come in.
Going in is free. It's free. Only when you want to exhibit that you have to pay for
exhibition.
But you can, anybody is admitted.
Okay, in 30 seconds, what key takeaways would you like participants and viewers to leave with from this year's show?
Well, quite honestly, I want people to believe that it is possible to have food security with the right kind of attitude of Nigerians and the leadership. And I will call on the president, Mr. President, that things are not very rosy. People are complaining of food and its price. Come and encourage the smallholder farmers who have been working assiduously to feed the ever-growing population of Nigeria. If Mr. President comes in there and acknowledges the effort that small farmers are making, they will feel better and they will be incentivized to do more. Because some of them lose their lives on the farms because of insecurity. Some of them are maimed. Some of them pay ransom, but they still go there. So encourage them to keep going in spite of the attendant risks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With that, I will wrap up today's episode of Nigeria Today. Very big thank you to Architect Kabir Ibrahim. He's the National President of Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN. He's the President, Nigeria Agribusiness Group. Thank you so much.
I am also the chairman of the BOT, the organizers of the agricultural show, and that's why I'm on this show.
Oh,
I am not on this show because I'm the president of farmers or president of agribusiness group, but because I'm the BOT chairman of NAFAN, the organizers of the agricultural show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for being part of the program. I am Ikaria Clinton. Have a wonderful weekend.